Welcome to becometechpro.com. In this session, we want to look at Python, and we want to use Python to write some codes that allows us run through some numbers and generate certain odd numbers or even numbers, or even make a list of all the numbers. Okay? Python is a very interesting and easy to use programming language that everybody should learn because it allows us to bring automation to our work environment. Now, before we go through the assignment of the day, I'd like to just introduce us a bit to what to expect with Python to see how easy it is, okay? Now, for example, if you want to display something to a screen, okay, you use the print command. You want to display something to a screen. Sounds logical? Print command. For example, if I say print, I can say print, welcome to become a techpro.com. Right? Welcome to become a techpro.com. Okay? So this I've written, right? So print, welcome to become a techpro.com. When I click on this, I see that it gets displayed at the bottom of the page, okay? So the content within here gets displayed, right? So this is Python. This is how to display a content in Python. Now, you can see what we've done. Let's say we decide to put a space here and run the code again. We'll still get we'll still get it, okay? So this is Python, right? It's very easy, very flexible, right? So what if I decide to make the space longer? You see, it doesn't throw in any error, okay? It doesn't throw in any error, you see? So this is Python for you. Now let's go to the assignment of the day. So what is our task? Our task is for us to display, okay, want to display, let's say we are looking at numbers from 1 to 15, right? 1 to 15 to 15, right? If you're looking at numbers between 1 to 15, okay? And let's say we want to display all the odd numbers between 1 to 15, or let's say 1 to 16, right? I want to display the odd numbers between 1 to 16. We know this thing, right? To display it is easy. We can just say 1, 3, 5, and that way. But when you have a vast amount of data, right? And you want to go through that, you don't want to be doing it manually. You want to use a language like Python to do it. But to make us understand what we are doing, we'll run through 1 to 16, right? And we look through it and we get the odd numbers, right? So once we do that, we can now know what we do when we have very big data, right? Very big data. As a data analyst, you want to use Python to get your job done, right? as a DevOps engineer, you want to use Python to bring automation into your environment. Okay, now, before we even go to the main thing we are here to do in this session, let's introduce you to some simple things you could also do with Python. For example, with Python, you can add, right? You can add with Python. You can decide to run this, right? If you run this, 2 plus 3 is simple. We know what it is, right? You can decide to run. We'll get 5. You can see it at the bottom. That's 5. So you can also decide to put your space, right? And run it. You see, we still get 5. Okay? We still get 5. Let's expand this a bit so you can see. Okay? We still get 5. And you can decide to say 2 times 3, which will give us 6, right? You see it down here. You can say 20 divided by 3, right? If you run this, you get 6.6.6.6.6.7, right? So you can say we can use subtraction as well, right? You can see it's very easy. This is something you can always easily relate to it, okay? Now, because we are going to use modulos in what we want to do, so let me show it now. You can also say 20 modulo 3, right? What it means is that if you divide 20 by 3, you get an answer. But what is the remainder, right? 20 divided by 3 gives us an answer, right? But if you don't want to start stating the decimal, right? If you don't want to state the decimal, you have a remainder. That is what this does for us. It says remainder 2. When you divide 20 divided by 3, you get 6, but it will remain 2 because 3 times 6 is 18. So that is what modulo does, okay? Now, enough of this. So our task for today is to, let's start with printing odd numbers between, let's say, 1 to 16, right? So to print odd numbers between 1 to 16, we want to use for loop. Okay, we want to loop through the numbers and get what we want. Okay, so we can say for, so that's a keyword in for loop. This is something we'll go through, okay, when we look at the for loop as a topic. Okay, so for, let's say we want to look for odd numbers, okay? Note that this variable that I've stated could be anything, okay? But whatever you choose, you need to be consistent all through. For odd numbers in, okay? So these are keywords, for and in, okay? But this could be whatever variable you want it to be. You can see in, you can see for odd numbers in, let's say we are looking at a range, right? We're looking at a range. Let's say, let's just say 15, for example. Looking at range 16 is what we said. We also want to check odd numbers that we find between 1 and 16. Okay, so put a colon here, okay? Then what next? We want something to get printed, okay? For this, okay? So now we won't just use for, okay? Because if it's just to get numbers, let's say, let's start with that actually. Let's say we just want to get numbers, okay? In that range from 1 to 16, okay? So what happens is that it will give us from 0 to 15, right? Just all the numbers, right? So if you say print numbers, right? Whatever you have here, this variable is what we'll have here, right? Print numbers. So what this will do for us is that it will give us all the numbers from 0 to 15, right? Because it's like indexing. Okay, so when we run this, let's see what we get. Let's expand this. Let's rerun it again so we can see it in full. So the space is not enough. Let's see. Just reduce the size of the screen. Okay, still not enough. Okay, instead of using 16, so that we can have, so let's assume we are using 9. Okay, so it will display numbers from 0 to 9. I want us to be able to see it fully and clearly. That's why I'm expanding the screen. Okay, so you see, we're able to get from 0 all the way to 9, right? Because that is what we are looking for. It looked through the entire range and brought out all the numbers, right? Let's say we want to get odd numbers. Odd numbers. You see, it's underlining this because it doesn't understand what I'm talking about, okay? Because there's nothing like numbers up here. So I need to change this to odd numbers, right? But the issue is, by mere saying odd numbers, the system doesn't understand, the program doesn't understand what I'm talking about. Even if I run this, it will still give me 0 to 8. It means I need to do something. You see, this name could be anything you want to call it. It's just in my head that I know I'm trying to generate odd numbers, right? It's just in my head. It could be anything. But if I run this without doing some things, it will still list my 0 to 8. Let's look at that. It still listed my 0 to 8 because this is just a variable, okay? It means nothing. It's just for us to understand what we are doing, okay? So what I need, because it could be anything. I could put XYZ, right? XFGSS, SG, right? I could put anything, right? It will still list everything within this range, right? But to be able to list odd numbers, we need to be able to get some things done, okay? To list odd numbers, we need to do more. We need to do extra numbers. Okay, we need to do more. Okay, so what's the more that we need to do? We need to get creative. You can say, we can now bring the if statement into this now. So this is something we'll look at in details as a topic. If statements, we'll look at comparisons, okay? So now let's look at this. We can say if, right? If these odd numbers, the variable, right? If odd numbers, you see what will happen, right? If I just say if odd number and I don't put the s, is we underline it. That's the beauty of IDE, right? Integrated Development Environment. Right now, I'm using VS Code, okay? It underlines it that, oh, there's a problem with this. This does not match with anything that you are trying to refer to, okay? So then I put my numbers. So it's correct. You can see the coloration. If odd numbers, right? We are looking at these odd numbers. How do you even get odd numbers? If a certain number is divided by 2 and you get 0, that's an even number. But if you divide a number by 2 and you get 1, that is what? That is an odd number, okay? So now that logic, we want to bring it in here. Remember, the other time we looked at modulo, right? That sign, that percentage sign, right? That gives us remainder. We can bring that in here. You know, it is all these pieces that we learn to use that will bring into things like this, right? It's not just, there's no standard formula, right? There's no standard approach. It depends on how you are able to use all those pieces from different topics, right? For example, to achieve this, we are using for loops, we are using if statements, right? So we can just get creative with this, okay? So if odd numbers, right, modulo 2 equals to 1, right? If you divide the number in question by 2 and you get 1, what it means is it is an odd number, okay? So this line tells us something, that this is going to be an odd number. So you click enter, right? If this gives you an odd number, right? What should you do? So you can say print. What you should do is to print the odd number. Okay. If this, okay, I missed the colon there, gives you the 1, right? You print the odd numbers, right? If this number divided by 2 gives you 1, it means it's an odd number. So you print. So what will happen is, I expect it to give us 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay, so if I run this code, let's run it and see whether it prints the odd numbers for us. You see, it prints it for us, 1, 3, 5, and 7. So this is what we've been able to achieve here. Can we also use this to get 4 even numbers? Okay, so yes, we can. All we need to do is to change this to 0, because when you divide an even number by 2, you get 0. That makes it even, right? So you can come here, because I don't want to cause confusion, right? Because we are working on even numbers. But if I run this the way it is, it will still give me even numbers, right? But it's logical to write even here, right? Even numbers. So you see, even, I want us to be able to get even numbers, even numbers. Okay, even numbers. So if you run this, you get all even numbers. Okay, you can also say, if you want the numbers to be from a certain range, right? If you want it to be from a certain range, maybe from 2, you know, or from from, let's say from 4, you can do this. You can do this. If you just want the numbers from 4 to 8, for example, right? So 4, 6, 8 is what you are looking for. If you run this, you see it gives you, because you've specified the starting point. Okay, so that's this for you. So see you in the next session when we look at more interesting codes in Python. Bye for now.